think we're ready. Hey guys, and welcome to the Media Mill Podcast. I am your host, Chad McGinnis. And I know obviously this is a little weird, a little different, doing an in-person visual and audio podcast. And I thought that there's no better way to, kick off a in-person podcast, I guess, for our first one, than to do a little bit of a ranking and talking about honestly one of the most influential and like one of my all-time favorite movie series that are around. So what we're going to be doing, and that's probably, if you looked at the title, depending on where you're going from, we're going to be talking about Halloween. It's again. We're gonna be talking about the Halloween franchise, which is, again, like I said, like one of my all-time favorite. It's iconic for paving the way for so many different movies and being an inspiration to an entire generation of horror movies. And I want to give my kind of, 2 cents, an opinion when it comes to every single movie in the franchise. So there's, not counting Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, I did disqualify this one just because I wanted to focus more on Michael Myers and how iconic he is and all the movies that he is present in. Not saying that he's not present in the third one, but Halloween 3 has a place on a different list, and it's just not this one. And I hope you respect that. It's a great movie, don't get me wrong. It's had a lot of hate over the years, but it's a pretty good movie. A movie that I need to watch again here soon. But I don't want to waste any more time. I do want to say that all the movies that we have are, let me back up a second. Let me go through all the movies that we are, in case you forgot. But obviously, we have Halloween, 1978, the first one. Halloween 2, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, like I said, it's disqualified, so it won't be on this list, but I thought I would mention it. Halloween 4, Halloween 5, Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, H2O, Halloween H2O, Halloween Resurrection, Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends, and then I am including the Rob Zombie movies. So that's Halloween 1 and 2. So the reboot series that Rob Zombie did in the mid to late 2000s. We'll get into why once they come up on my list, but I needed to obviously include them. So, but without further ado, let's just get into it. Honestly, there's no point in wasting time when it comes to stuff like this. So, I do want to, we'll start from the end. So the ones that are not so good, I think just as iconic, as these movies are, the series itself is also iconic for being not the best, we'll say. It's very shaky at points. There's a lot of movies that aren't the best, I would say, and lack a lot. And I think if you are also a horror movie buff like myself, I think you'll agree with a lot of this. I do want to say that there's probably some that you won't agree with, some that you think are too high, too low, and that's okay. That is okay. I think the important thing about, when it comes to stuff like this is that everybody's going to have their own opinion, and you just have to respect that. I know it'll hurt. I know. I get it. But I don't care. And you shouldn't either. This is just a fun little thing, and if you agree, you agree. If you don't agree. All good. But let's get started, shall we? So, at number 12, I don't think this will come as a shock to many people, but Halloween Resurrection, which was the, the 7th one in the series? Yeah. Or something like that. Halloween Resurrection, basically, the gist of that movie is Michael Myers, there's this web series, online video. It's kind of very meta, especially today. It's like the whole live streaming culture kind of thing. But Michael Myers they kind of invade Michael Myers' home in which he is locked in, basically, for some reason. It's very weird. But they are trapped in this house and they kind of have to, go around and, I guess, survive Michael. It's a big kind of, it was supposed to be a joke and Michael Myers wasn't actually supposed to show up, but he ends up showing up and killing a lot of people, obviously, and it's all online and stuff like that. It's just dumb. I'm not gonna lie. Like, the movie itself is just, it kind of hurts to watch. Every time I watch it, which is not very many times, it's just no with this movie. Like, it's just, I understand the kind of direction that they're maybe going for, but no. It's, honestly, this movie is a big reflection of a lot of these other movies, and it's just not the direction they should have went originally. It's the worst movie in the franchise. I don't really recommend watching this one because I think it'll cause you more pain than give you some pleasure. And I mean, unless you're into that type of stuff, and maybe you like this movie, I don't see why, but sure. Okay, if you like it, you like it. That's cool. It's a wrong answer, but I respect it. At number 11, we'll move on. I have Halloween 2, the Rob Zombie version, not the original Halloween 2, but Rob Zombie's version of the Halloween 2. This picks up basically right after the first rendition of Rob Zombie's Halloween. Michael Myers has become kind of a drifter and isn't really around. He's kind of living off the grid, I guess. He tried to do some weird stuff where there's this whole white horse kind of initiative. He's seeing his mother. It's kind of weird. It kind of gives a little bit of a backstory to his madness, I guess, but also in a very weird and something I kind of can't really understand it. A lot of this movie is gross. I'll admit, it's very gross. He eats a dog, which is disgusting. I'm not gonna lie, I love gore, and I mean, I wasn't a big fan of him eating a dog because nobody wants to see a dog die. But it was a little weird, to say the least. I think what shines bright about this movie, and I feel like it is worth watching, I guess, if you're doing a marathon of this. I would say the opposite for Resurrection, but I do think if you do a Halloween binge and you include the Rob Zombie ones, it is worth watching, but also just be prepared to just not know what the fuck is going on. Pardon my French, but that's kind of what this movie goes through. And I mean, the mask that's in it is kind of, he gets shot in the face in the first one. Sorry for spoilers, but I don't really care. And his half of his face is shown, which is not what Michael Myers should be. You want him to be faceless, I think. That's how I would keep it. And then he ends up talking, which is okay, I guess. A little weird, but okay. But yeah, it's all right. So I have it at 11. So at number 10, I have Halloween 5. Some of you guys might be thinking that this is a little low. I think for me, it kind of goes back and forth on my list a little bit. This one's kind of a weirder one because this is the one that really pushes for the Mark of Cain thing and the weird witch and wizard stuff that they tried to push towards the end of the series, where they kind of tried to explain why he's this mass murderer, basically, and why. Very weird. This movie's kind of I just can't find myself honestly going back to watch this one very much. I had to kind of familiarize myself with this movie, which I mean could be lower, but at the same time, it's not as bad as the last two. So, I mean, I think there is a following for it, and I think it is more of like a cult following. But like, I don't know. I don't know. I could never really get behind the whole Laurie Strode not being there and you're dealing with her daughter kind of thing. I don't know. And the whole just Mark of Cain thing is just kind of doesn't do it for me. Does not do it for me. And that's all I'll say about that one. At number 9, I have Halloween Ends. So this is the latest one of the series, and it kind of puts an end to the Laurie Strode saga, or the original saga, I guess, if you want to say. But my feelings toward this one, I know a lot of people hate it, and I understand the hate, and I see the hate. And I mean, when I first saw it, I was like, whatever. But the way I kind of look at this movie is I don't look at it as a Michael Myers movie. Because, I mean, in the movie, you see you're following a lot of whatever his face's name. I'm sorry, I can't remember characters' names. But you're not following... It doesn't feel like a typical Michael Myers movie. It feels like just another kind of like descent into madness kind of story. Because, I mean, the entire town turns on this kid, even though it was an accident, what happened, and it just kind of goes down from there. And like I said, it's just not a Halloween movie or like a Michael Myers film. It's Michael Myers happens to be there, and I mean, at the end, he dies, like he meets his end, but at the same time, like, it's more of a descent in the madness movie than it is like a actual slasher movie. I feel like maybe you guys will agree. I don't think that the movie's necessarily terrible. Like I didn't necessarily hate it, but also like when it comes to this, like it just didn't feel like a Halloween movie. But I do like I would watch this movie again. I would. Especially because of the kills, and I mean, just to see it end, I guess, kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, it was time for this series to be put to rest. So I'm not gonna lie, but it sounds like they're gonna reboot it. We'll talk about that another day. After Halloween Ends, so that's number 9. I have Halloween 6: The Curse of Michael Myers. I will say that this one is kind of a guilty pleasure for me. I feel like I remember watching this movie at a younger age, and I mean, it scared me back then. And I mean, I even watch it occasionally. Like, again, I feel like this movie to me is like my guilty pleasure movie out of all of them. Again, this is during the time that they're really pushing for the Mark of Cain. Laurie Strode's daughter dies at the beginning of this movie. You see Paul Rudd. It's okay. I love the look of Michael in this movie. I know I haven't really been talking about the look of Michael in a lot of these movies, but I do like the look of Michael. They, after a slew of terrible masks and character designs, they actually got it like right. I feel like in this one, I love the way his mask looks. I love the kills that happen in that movie. It is like it's a fun film. There's 2 versions of it: the theatrical and like the producer's cut. I can't remember if I've seen the producer's cut. I probably have. It's been a second, but it's an okay movie. Again, not really for the whole Mark of Cain thing and that type of stuff, but it wasn't terrible. Like, it wasn't terrible. I think it was more, again, it's higher up on my list than about like, or it's higher up on my list just because it's more or less just a guilty pleasure film. And I feel like I've gone back to this film a lot, which you might hate me for saying, but it has happened. So there's that, I guess. But it's not a bad movie. It's not a good movie. It's kind of like mid, as the kids would say these days, is mid. So after that, I have Halloween Kills. And my feelings about this movie, obviously Halloween Kills takes place like right after Halloween 2018. involves all the townsfolk, and they try and, gang up on Michael Myers and try and take him down once and for all. This movie doesn't really do much. Like, honestly, when I saw this movie, I was like, what did this movie progress in the storyline? Because you didn't get anywhere in this movie. Like, honestly, all it was just another way for Michael to kill people. And I'm all for that. Again, I'm a big gore guy. Like, I like that. I love all the kills that have come from these newer movies. But, like, just looking at the story, it's like, what did we accomplish here? Like, we didn't really accomplish much. Like, at all. Like, the movie didn't move forward any. Like, it didn't do much. We were very just stagnant. All just, kind of played out was just that the town was kind of done with Michael's bullshit, done with him kind of killing a bunch of people. But otherwise, it didn't really move the story along. I think, honestly, for me, this movie's high up, where it's at, just because, I love the kills, and I am kind of a sucker for the burn look on Michael. I think that's kind of cool, but mostly just because of the kills, because that's honestly all this movie has to offer. And some throwback, but otherwise, nothing really special. Nothing to really, honestly, they could have added this movie onto either 2018 or even Halloween Ends, and I would have been like, okay, yeah. That, honestly, if what happened in Halloween Ends was in Halloween Kills was in Halloween Ends, I probably would have liked Halloween Ends a lot better. But we had a trilogy for whatever reason. But maybe you agree, maybe you don't. I don't know. After that, so at number 6, I have Halloween 4. Basic movie. Honestly, got back to the basics after, Season of the Witch. Michael is a peer. He's a little big for my liking. He's very boxy too. I don't like the masks in Halloween 5 or 4 and 5 for that matter. I hate these masks with a passion, but it's not bad. You get introduced to new characters. You see that Laurie Strode's not there anymore, which is like, oh, well, okay, whatever. Kind of weird, but she died in a car crash off screen. Okay. It's just kind of a basic, movie. Got back down to the basics. It's not a bad movie. I feel like I like this movie quite a bit. It doesn't really do anything innovative, but again, not a bad movie. I think this is when Mustafa Akkad steps in and takes over for John Carpenter, but again, not bad. It's not anything special, but it's not a bad movie. Again, I think my only gripes would be getting rid of Laurie, and then, or at least not showing her death on camera, I guess, and then probably just the look of Michael, because what the fuck. And then I guess that ending scene was, I think I like the ending scene if I really think about it, where she's standing up at the top of the stairs, and she's mimicking what happened in Michael's old days. I was like, okay, that's cool. Okay, cool. But I don't know. Just kind of, plain and simple Halloween movie. Michael Myers is in it, kills people. Cool, man. Cool, good for you. After that, I have Halloween H2O. So we're getting into the top 5 now. So this is number 5, and I have Halloween H2O. I enjoy this movie quite a bit. I think as a kid, this is a movie that I watched quite a bit. I think this is a movie I've watched the most out of all of the Halloween movies. It's pretty good. I can get behind the story. It's kind of fun. It's kind of, in a way, kind of campy because it takes place on a college campus. Gives a little backstory. It does ignore what happened in 4, 5, 6, and stuff like that, because I think they wanted it to be a direct sequel to the second one, so it ignores everything that came after. So that was, it's cool. I think I like the look of Michael. I think the only gripe with the look is that I hated how you could see his eyes. I feel like that's just not Michael Myers, I guess, because you think when you see, when you think Michael Myers, you just think about those black eyes. And I mean, even, the blackest of eyes, the devil's eyes. I always think about that. And you could see his eyes. And I mean, the entire time he looks like he's wide-eyed and like high on something. But not a bad movie. Like, honestly, like I really like the setting. I like the story. Having Laurie come back and face Michael again was super cool. And I feel like this was kind of, I feel like at the time that it was released, it didn't get many good reviews, but I think if you haven't watched this movie, I recommend you go rewatch this movie, because like it's not a bad movie. Like, it really isn't. I think it's one of the more enjoyable movies in this series, and it's definitely up there. Again, it's number 5 for me, and it's always one that I'll go back and watch just because how fun it is. It's kind of weird talking about the looks, because like I always think about there's one scene where they do like a CGI mask because for whatever reason they forgot to put a mask on their actor, whatever. And I think there's even one scene where the mask has yellow hair, which is like, okay, whatever. But overall, not bad. I guess also talking like off of that and like off of the look of him, as I know throughout that movie he's changed his look quite a bit. Because I'm pretty sure like at the beginning there's some shots of him in the Michael Myers 6 or the Halloween 6 mask, which they probably should have just kept because that mask was great. And then they changed the mask around. They did that CGI one with the blonde hair for whatever fucking reason. And then they have the H2O mask that they finally like settled on that you see throughout a lot of the movie, which I thought was good. I thought it was not bad other than the eyes. It's legit. And I mean, I guess the hair too. The hair was kind of looked like Jamie Lee Curtis in that movie, honestly, but was just frizzier hair. But yeah, there's H2O. That's number 5. And number 4, I have 2018's Halloween. So the requel series, the start of the requel series. I love this movie. This movie is great. Brought a new dimension. Obviously Laurie's this paranoid person. They, obviously ignored basically everything after Halloween. And so it's a direct sequel to the first Halloween. I could see why they did this, but like I kind of enjoyed the storyline of him being his sister, and they got rid of it in this movie, which I totally understand why, and I see it, and I'm not against it, but I feel like that was cool. Cool thing. I think it really kind of gives a little oomph to like the story and like a kind of a driving factor for Michael, but it's their decision, it's their movie. I can only talk about it and complain about it, but I like this movie. I love the kills. The kill of the police officer in the car that he carved into a pumpkin. That's awesome. Like, legit one of the best kills throughout the entire series. Like, yes. That's how, like, they really upped their game with the brutality in this. I feel like it kind of mimicked some of the brutality that's in Rob Zombies, but we'll get into that. But I liked them. Like, I felt like a good direction for the Halloween series. I feel like it was a good, reboot of what we all enjoyed when we watched the first one. It brought back a lot more mystery. Obviously, the look of him is just amazing. Like, I love the look of Michael. I love the mask. How it really looks like it's just an aged version of the first one. Obviously, a little different, but like that, it was perfect. It was just a masterpiece, honestly. At least the look. The movie itself, pretty good. Like, again, great story. Again, great kills. Love Michael's return, and I love how, Laurie, once again is facing off against Michael. You have the house that they turn into a trap at the end, which is awesome. Cool little twist at the end. And then, obviously hearing the breathing at the end, because you're like, oh shit, he's alive. They kind of had me fooled, I guess, with this series, because I thought at the end of this movie, I was like, oh shit, they're doing it right. They are doing it right. And then after that, they kind of, not terrible, but they kind of took a little step back from the original, from that movie. So, but great. If you haven't watched it, go watch it, because this one, It's worth it. That so at number 3, I have Halloween 2. It's a classic movie. Like, you can't not talk about Halloween 2. Obviously, I feel like people might think that this is a little low on my list, and obviously it's in the top 3, and some people might think it's low because this movie's great. Obviously different actor for Michael, but it takes place right after the first one. Hospital setting's pretty cool. A lot of cool kills. You just get to see more. Storyline is. I feel like it was the right continuation for that story, and it just worked so well. Obviously, you get to see Laurie and Michael face off again. You got Dr. Loomis in the mix, and they kind of explain the whole theory, like the whole story behind him, and how it is his family's connected, and Laurie's like his sister. I thought it was great. Like, there's not much to say other than this movie is just great. And, obviously one of the best movies. I know some people even argue that it's better than the original. I don't necessarily think that, but I have heard it. I have heard that people enjoy the original more. Cool. Or this one more. All good. But for me, it's my number 3 just because these top 2, I can't really... I just can't push myself away from dropping them any lower. So, within the top 2, we have Halloween 2007. So, Rob Zombie's rendition. So the first one. Look, I'm just a sucker for Rob Zombie. I feel like this was probably his strongest outing as a director and as a horror movie director. This movie really made me terrified of Michael Myers. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, the just amount of brutality that he made Michael into. Obviously, like, people complain about his size and, he's just a big motherfucker. And, which I get, but also, like, that man is terrifying. Like, that really, like, watching that movie, like, that gets me terrified of Michael Myers. Like, that really, really scared me of Michael Myers. Seeing him, the way he kills, just not really giving a shit about how much brutality he does and, like, how he kills people. Like, if he gets his hands on you, you will be murdered. And it'll be in some brutal fashion. Acting in this movie is great. I'm not going to lie, I kind of like the background story of Michael. I mean, I think in the real world, I feel like this would make a lot of sense. Is obviously this kid grew up in a very, abusive household. And, one night he just, obviously he goes down deeper and deeper to the darkness. He ends up, getting into trouble in school. You see all the signs and they kind of ignore it, and all the signs kind of accumulate to him killing that one kid in the woods. And after that, it feels like he probably got the taste for it, and it all kind of just snapped and it just went downhill. Him killing his stepfather, killing his sister, people who, abused him in the past, and then kind of just locked down ever since, I thought it wasn't bad. Sometimes I think it sucks. It's not really the right thing to do to give characters like this, like, a backstory, but also, like, I could believe it. Obviously, I'm no psychologist or whatever, but I could believe it. I could understand where they're coming from. And I like that. I like the direction. And obviously, like, I love the music. I love the setting. It being, it fits the style very well. And, like, the year that it was, shot in. Again, acting's great. It's a very, very gory film. Which, again, I love that about Rob Zombie's movie. You can call me crazy or messed up, that's fine, but I really enjoy that. And again, it's just a good movie. Like, it's just all around a good movie. I wish he would have followed the script, followed the movies a little bit more for his second one, and didn't really go off the rails with the whole White Horse one. But, like, I really enjoy this movie. It's a great slasher, and it's scary. Like, it's scary if you really think about it, and, like, all the kills are just terrifying. Like, one that sticks out to me is Laurie's parents, or their step parents, or her step parents, like her adopted parents. They're coming back into the house, and it's just a wide shot of the front door, and he's walking not Michael, but their dad is walking like into the house or whatever, and all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, Michael comes, slits the guy's throat, throws him into the door, and the door slams right behind him. You're like, holy shit, what the fuck just happened? What just happened? And like, that's just the brutality of these kills are just mind-boggling, honestly. And obviously, it's not everybody's cup of tea. I get it. Some people hate these movies. Understandable. Some people don't like the brutality of it, and I get it. Rob Zombie definitely has a taste for gore and stuff that will disgust you, and it's not for the faint of heart in these movies. But love this movie. I love this movie. Again, it's up there for me in this list. So that's my thoughts on it. And then obviously, at number one, I don't think this really should surprise anybody. Maybe it does, but the original Halloween from 1978. That is my number one. I mean, the most iconic, character, like the shape, the way that this film is shot, the story, the acting. It's just great. A lot of the time you barely see Michael. It's a mystery for most of it, and then it unlike Rob Zombie, it doesn't really rely on gore. Like, it relies on just the tension and suspense, which John Carpenter is just perfect at. Like, he knows how to do it. He's the master of it, and it's just, God, I love this movie. I love how this movie is just beautifully shot, especially on the budget that it was given. Like, it was beautifully shot. And it's just iconic. And I mean, paved the way for so many different movies to come out afterwards, and, further inspired a generation of movies, to come even now to kind of mimic. So honestly, that movie to me is it's a masterclass. Like, some people will argue that John Carpenter's masterpiece is The Thing, which totally valid, but this movie to me is just perfect. Honestly, just perfect. Talking about it just makes me want to watch it again, which will probably happen. I'll probably go watch it right after I get done with this, but it's just a great movie. It's just a great movie, and if you still haven't watched it yet, what are you doing? I mean, what are you doing clicking on this video? But what are you doing? But I love this movie. It's great. There's not much I need to say about it, honestly, that hasn't already been said. So, I mean, I guess we can talk about going back to how this movie is shot. Beautifully shot, plays with shadows so nicely. Obviously, there's a one shot of Laurie standing next to the doorway, and Michael Myers just materializes from behind her. It's just I can't say enough about this movie. So that's number one. That is number one. So I guess we should recap, because I ramble a lot, and I'm sure you guys forgot. But so at number one, we have Halloween 1978. Number two, we have Halloween 2007. So that's Rob Zombie's rendition. 3 is Halloween 2, so the original Halloween 2. And then we have Halloween 2018. Halloween H2O is number 5. Yep. Number 6 is Halloween 4. Number 7 is Halloween Kills. Number 8 is Halloween 6. Number 9 is Halloween Ends. Number 10 is Halloween 5. 11 is Halloween 2, or Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. And 12 is Halloween Resurrection. So if you have any, questions about how I rank those, and you either disagree or you agree, why not just, tell me about it. Whether you're finding me on the Media Melt blog or on this YouTube channel where I post all of my podcasts, let me know down in the comments, or send us something on the blog. There's a little recommendations kind of thing at the bottom of the page. Feel free to give us a write. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you agreed more than you disagreed. But if you did, again, that's okay. I'd love to hear what you guys think about these movies. And if you thought I did good, but if I didn't, that's cool. That's cool. Let me know what other movie franchises that you want me to see. I mean, we can go through the classic slashers, which I'd be totally fine with. So like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream. We could even go over like the Saw franchise. Just kind of looking over at my CDs over here, but just let me know. But I really hope you guys enjoyed, and obviously no trivia this week. It's something that I want to do when I have guests is, have them do trivia like I did with Matt, who was our first guest. Hopefully I can get another guest on this podcast, and we'll just see where it goes from here. But I do really appreciate you. I do really appreciate you guys watching the Media Mail podcast and tuning into this. It's really fun, something different that I've never done before. And sometimes I don't know what I'm talking about, but sometimes I do. And horror movies are my favorite thing. I watch honestly too many of them, and it's just something I love, and I want to share that love with you. So that's all I gotta say about that. So this has been the Media Mail podcast. Again, I'm Chad, and I'll see you guys whenever the next episode comes out. So peace out.